There's a moment in every human life when you believe you're untouchable. Not because you're powerful, but because you've gotten away with too much for too long. That's when the mind does something dangerous. It rewrites reality. It tells you you're different. The rules don't apply to you. And that's exactly when people destroy everything. Psychologists call it moral licensing. You do enough good, you build a strong identity, you earn admiration, and slowly, quietly, your brain starts giving you permission to break your own rules. Not all at once, just a small compromise, a justified decision, a hidden indulgence, until one day you cross a line you swore you never would. This is not about religion. This is about human nature under pressure. And one of the most disturbing case studies of this pattern is a man history remembers as a hero, King David. Forget the legend for a moment. Strip away the poetry, the songs, the victories. What you have is a man who rose from nothing, outperformed everyone, defeated giants, literally and socially, and became the most powerful figure in his nation. That kind of rise does something to the brain. It creates identity inflation. You stop seeing yourself as someone who follows rules and start seeing yourself as someone who defines them. David didn't fall because he was weak. He fell because he was strong for too long without consequences. The story pivots on a quiet moment. No battle, no crisis, no external threat, just boredom. And boredom in high-power individuals is dangerous, because when stimulation drops, the brain seeks intensity. David stays behind while others go to war. He disengages from purpose. And in that mental vacuum, desire enters. He sees a woman. Not just attraction, not just curiosity. This is unchecked impulse combined with absolute power. Here's the key psychological shift. He doesn't ask, should I? He asks, why not? That's ego talking. Let's break down what's happening inside his mind. 1. Entitlement bias. I've earned this. After years of discipline and success, the brain seeks reward. David isn't reacting to the moment. He's cashing in psychological credit. 2. Power distortion effect. Power reduces empathy. The more control you have, the less you simulate other people's pain. The woman he desires, she becomes an object in his narrative, not a person with consequences. 3. Optimism bias. This won't go wrong. High achievers often believe they can manage outcomes. They've solved every problem before. Why not this one? 4. Secrecy justification loop. If no one knows, it's not real. This is where the mind fractures. You split your identity, public self versus private self. And once that split begins, behavior escalates fast. Here's where it gets dark. One bad decision rarely stays isolated. It demands protection. David doesn't just act on desire. He starts engineering reality to cover it. This is classic cognitive dissonance reduction. When your actions conflict with your identity, you either change your behavior or you distort reality to justify it. He chooses distortion. He manipulates, he deceives, and eventually he orchestrates a death. Let that sink in. A man once defined by courage now avoids truth at all costs. At this stage, something critical happens internally. He no longer sees himself clearly. This is self-deception at elite levels. Not lying to others, lying to yourself so convincingly that you believe your own narrative. And this is where most people never recover. Because once you lose accurate self-perception, you lose the ability to correct course. Don't distance yourself from this story. This pattern is everywhere today.
leaders who start with vision, then fall into corruption, entrepreneurs who build something great, then sabotage it through ego, people in relationships who justify betrayal because they deserve happiness. It's the same sequence: success, entitlement, small compromise, secrecy, escalation, collapse. No one jumps straight to destruction. They slide into it, one justified step at a time. Here's the uncomfortable truth. The greatest threat to your life is not failure. It's success without self-awareness. Because failure keeps you sharp. It forces reflection. But success? Success blinds. It removes friction. It removes accountability. And slowly, it removes reality. In David's case, the turning point wasn't external punishment. It was exposure. Someone forced him to see himself clearly again. And that's rare. Most people don't get that moment. They just continue until everything collapses. This isn't the story about a king. It's a pattern encoded in human behavior. If you don't actively challenge your own thinking, your mind will protect your ego at the cost of your life. You will justify what you once condemned. You will normalize what once disgusted you. You will become someone you would never trust. Not because you're evil, but because you're human. And unchecked humans, with power, desire, and no resistance, don't drift toward greatness. They drift toward destruction. The real question isn't whether you would make the same mistake. It's this: at what point in your life are you already justifying it?